If there was one thing I want to make sure everybody hears, is if there's a reason you're listening to the podcast, there's a reason you've looked it up, and the answer is pretty easy. It means you should go. It means you need to go to one of the weekends. I mean, it really sucks carrying so much weight and so much baggage from your past, and we all do, knowing that there's a place where it's safe and you're loved and you're going to be so well taken care of. Why not discover what radical grace and radical honesty looks like? And, it's definitely something that will change your life for the better and the life of those around you. Why should you go? Why should you not go?
Welcome to the Crucible Project podcast. The Crucible Project is a nonprofit organization committed to creating a world of men and women who live with integrity, grace, and courage, helping them to fulfill their God-given purpose. This podcast will discuss important and sometimes difficult topics while delivering practical life applications with men and women who are currently practicing this work. We are igniting Christ-like change in men and women through experiences of radical honesty and grace.
Welcome to the Crucible Project podcast. I'm Martin Brooker. I'm one of your hosts on this podcast, and delighted to have Neil Harbison here today. He's a husband, married for 7 years, father of 2 miracle boys, stay-at-home dad, homeschooling his 2 boys, and also a photographer, creative designer, and mental health peer advocate. Currently dealing with some serious medical issues himself, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but comes from a blessing of being that stay-at-home dad. And he's also our new TCP podcast coordinators and hosts. So, Neil, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Martin. It's a blessing to be here.
Yeah. So I would love to, for you to share just a little bit of a short version of the story. Even that introduction has me questions, but would love to hear your version of the Neil Harbison story and how you got to where we are today.
Yeah, well, that could be a wild story. Like I said, married for 7 years, met my wife at church, actually. We were both doing photography and some of the audio visual stuff at our church. Our church was so big that we actually moved for our Easter service to a big coliseum here locally. And we were helping set up with that and laid eyes on her, and she came and talked to me, and the rest is history. We've been married for 7 years. It's been a journey for sure. It's been lots of ups and downs. And so we're working really hard on getting through that journey and continuing that, no doubt. Like I said, 2 miracle boys. I was told I would never have kids based on some of my medical conditions, and God had a different plan. God always does, right? Like we have our plan, He has His. 5 and 3 is their age. And it's a blessing. I get to stay home and teach them and raise my boys. Mental health peer advocate, been doing that for a long time. I think if we're honest, all of us deal with mental health in some way, shape, or form, or we know somebody that does. And it's not often that you have somebody just to walk with you through that process. And so that's been something that I've been journeying with, and I know what that's like. I know what it's like to feel alone too in that process. So I want to walk with people in that. The medical issues that I've been dealing with and having to stay at home, I've had some time to take on the Crucible Project podcast, which is a huge blessing. And just going through the work, the Crucible Project work and rediscovering who I am. Thought I knew who I was a long time ago. Come to find out, I really had a lot of questions. I had a lot of doubts. I had a lot of worries about being the right Christian, the right man. Yeah. And it was the Crucible Project that brought me a lot of answers, a lot of tools to learn through that.
Well, I want to come back to the Crucible Project and your journey and how that came up as well. One of the things you said there about being a mental health peer advocate, like how did that come about?
Honestly, lived experience. I watched my mom from a very young age dealing with depression. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew what I saw in her, and I knew there was just almost like that cloud that kind of hung over her. And I remember a point in time, maybe 14 or 15 years old, maybe even 13, I realized I had some of that cloud, and that's the only way I could define depression. So I would call it, hey, I think I'm depressed. I started going to therapy and just, I knew there was this ominous, like oppressive weight on me, and I didn't know how to explain it, didn't know how to deal with it. With a single mom, really hard to walk with your mom through that. And really, it was shunned. People going to therapy, especially a kid my age, I just didn't talk about that. So it came from a place of lived experience, having to go many, many years, different therapists. Honestly, I had 2 that were, actually abusive in their therapeutic ways. And I wanted to change this. With the amount of people that deal with depression and mental illness on a regular daily basis, surely there should be people to walk with you that have lived it, understood it. I don't need a therapist to do that. I don't need a psychiatrist to do that. Now, doesn't mean I don't need them, but why not have a friend that can really understand what you're going through, be there for you, and not shame you for it? That's what led me to peer advocacy in that regard.
Yeah. I can imagine somebody who's facing those mental health challenges, one of their number one challenges, who can I trust? And,
no doubt.
And I can imagine that, being a mental health peer advocate, you're the guy that can help somebody trust a person and then trust the process. Would that be fair?
I think that's fair. I mean, that's something I would definitely strive, to achieve in that. And also just to not be alone. That's a lonely feeling. In fact, it feels like a lot of our feelings that we go through, we feel alone even though we're not. There's so many people going through so many of the same things we do, whether it's depression, addiction, whatever those things are. How about this? Being a stay-at-home dad and not knowing, man, what does that look like? I go to look for tips and things to help with my boys, and it's always geared towards the mom, but I am the stay-at-home dad. And so there's not a lot of that out there. I know I'm not alone, but that's really what it is. I want people to not feel alone, but to feel like there's somebody there that can, walk with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there would be a lot of people listening to this that would take something out of that. And we should talk about those resources that are available in that situation.
Absolutely.
One of those is the Crucible Project, but you found your way to your initial weekend. What was the catalyst for you going? What happened that led you to go into this weekend?
Yeah, so friend and colleague at the time, he had gone to the weekend. Here I am thinking he's going to a retreat. They're going to be singing around a campfire, kumbaya, and Bible studies and this good stuff. And I saw him when he came back. And I'm talking, there's a light in his eyes, like, wow, night and day. Like, what did you drink there? Like, I need to have some of that. And he's like, you need to sign up. You need to go. Funny thing is, I signed up immediately because I needed to have some of that glow that was coming off of him. And I'm thinking I'm going to go sing praise the Lord and, do Bible study around a campfire. Not the case. But I went and I understood immediately why the glow and why the shine and why the light in his eyes when he came back, because it had the same thing. And it's beautiful.
Yeah. What was it about him that was different?
It was life. It's hard to explain it, but to see that light in his eyes and the life that he had, it made him just an almost instant better friend, better communicator, better colleague. And like I said, he's a friend and a colleague. And just to see the light in his eyes and the energy and the passion, and it was full force. I mean, like a fire hydrant, just water coming out of a fire hydrant instead of a hose. It was amazing to see. Not that he didn't have these things before. This man was on fire. This man was changed.
Yes.
Profoundly. And it was beautiful. And you could just see it. Even if you couldn't put a finger on exactly what it was, you knew you had to have some of that. And then I was able to watch after the fact, like his role as a father, his role as a husband, his role as a friend, his role at work, all improved, all just massively.
Yeah.
Like night and day.
Yeah. It's a privilege, isn't it, to see that change? I'm curious, that was his journey, but what did you find for yourself on your weekend, your first weekend?
Interesting. Again, I did not go sing, do Bible study around the campfire, which I'm so grateful for because there's a time and place for that. This was a time and place for me to deal with stuff that I've been carrying for so long, that the majority of which I didn't even realize I'd been carrying. I'd hidden some stuff so deep down, some wounds, and some wounds aren't even the right word, some things that just impacted me in the most destructive way possible that I'd hidden so deep down. I hadn't even thought about it in 20 plus years. And it was through the processes on the weekend that I was able to get that out. Here I am. I grew up with a single mom, and my grandparents had a hand in raising me. So it's my mom and my grandparents. But I remember in school, everybody making fun of me and asking if I was gay, asking, because I was raised by women primarily. So I had mannerisms that were different. I was not a guy. I was not a man in society's terms. And as I got older, dealing with mental health, dealing with medical issues, spinal issues, and then getting married, I still didn't know what it meant to be a man. I knew what society said, the hardcore vision of what society would say, this is what a man is. I couldn't fit that mold. I came out of the weekend knowing this is what it means to be a man, knowing my emotions, getting in touch with them, defining them, and Like I teach my boys daily, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be scared, happy, all these things, but know what they are and know how to handle them. And then having a set of tools that was just shown to me that almost anything that comes up in life, I can manage much, much in a much greater way than I ever could possibly have before.
So how would you define what it means to be a man?
To be present, to be a present person, somebody that's there to listen. The strength comes sometimes in the breaking. Strength comes in the crying and letting like my kids know it's okay to cry. They see me cry. Being present with them when things aren't good, when things are good, at all times, being present emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. It's not about providing the dollar. No, not that that's a bad thing, but it's about providing stability, honesty, humility. I can't tell you how many times I mess up on a daily basis with my kids, on a daily basis. I got 2 miracle boys, right? Told you will not be able to have kids after the surgery, so be prepared for that. I wasn't married at the time, so I'm totally prepared, not going to have kids. Then I got married 2 years later and we want kids. 2 kids that were blessed, God blessed us with. When I make mistakes, doesn't feel good, but I go to them and say, I'm sorry. I did wrong. This was wrong. Daddy did wrong. You know what? It's the first time being a dad. I'm still learning. And you know what? It's your first time being a kid. You're still learning too. So we'll do it together. Presence, honesty, compassion, humility. Yeah. To me, that's being a dad and that's providing. That's the best way I can put that.
Yeah. Thanks.
For me personally.
Yeah. Yeah. But everybody, I guess, has a perception. What do you think gets in the way? Or what was your experience? What was getting in the way of you being that man?
Oh, myself.
Yeah.
That's an easy answer. So, one of the things my wife says all the time, I made a life for 40 something years wearing a mask. I was always the happy guy, never got angry, never got mad. I'll take everything on. That was my shadow is I can fix everything. I will fix that. Let me carry that for you the whole time. I'm not fixing me. I'm not taking care of me. I'm overextending me. Taking that mask off. Let me just tell you right now, it sucks, but it's amazing. I don't think people understand when they say, hey, Neil, how's it going? No, not too good, but I'll be okay. Some people kind of like, what did he just say? No, it's okay to be honest. Like, I don't understand. Hi, how's it going? How are you? I'm fine. No, I'm not okay, but I will be. Yeah. Be raw, be honest. So I was getting in the way of me. Wearing a mask was getting in the way of me being me. And also the societal norm of what it meant to be a man. What in the world, what the hell is a norm anyway? That's one thing I've just never subscribed to is normal, but I bought into the definition, right, of a man and how I didn't fit it. And that was very confusing, very confusing.
Yeah. It's like we go through life and then there's a point where we got to actually discover who we really are on the inside, who God knows us to be.
Yeah. And I really, really love the way God designed me. I love who God wants me to be. And I'm trying to do that daily. Because I fall short, there's still that me that wants to be me in my own ways. I want my own things. I want my way, and not that way. But I find the further I dive into submission and surrendering into His will, into God's will and the definition of who I am in His mind, take these glasses off, right? And I look through His lenses, through His eyes. It might be hard, but it sure is a blessing. And it's who I'm meant to be. That's what I want my kids to see. I don't want my kids to see anything other than the Neil, the daddy that's working to be the best. I don't need them to see me the best. Does that make sense? I want them to see me working to be the best. It's always a work. It's always a journey.
What I'm hearing in that, is actually redefining purpose for yourself.
It's a good way to put it, for sure. Having a purpose and a mission for myself too many times in my life has been tuned into what I'm doing in my life at the time. This job, that job, this profession, whatever, and never truly about what it really means to be me and who I was designed and created to be. So it's quite a change. It's quite a change in definition and a change inside and out.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what did you experience with the other men that were on that weekend in terms of honesty and grace?
Man, I think on the weekend, you really don't know what to expect. And you're coming in and they're encouraging you to be radically honest and to receive radical grace. sometimes we don't know what that means. And then we're watching this take place in front of us. And it's just like it kind of cracks a little bit. And then the process begins before the weekend starts, with an interview and some other things that take place. But then when you get to the weekend, it's like that cracks open completely. And you're able to really just pour out this crap, pour out some of what's happened, pour out some of what you're dealing with and what you're doing yourself. And you're met with nothing but love. It's like, what is this? What in the world is this? And this is why I see the light in people's eyes, because finally there's a place I can be real, because being real does not mean I'm perfect. Being real means that I'm broken, I'm wounded, I'm hurt, and maybe I'm hurting as well, other people. And I'm still loved, I'm still welcomed, and I'm still wanted and part of the journey. Watching other men go through this as well is just eye-opening because you're not alone. They're going through it, you're going through it. And then guess what? After that weekend, you get a chance to, if you choose to staff and bring that to other men that haven't been through it yet themselves. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's a hard thing, but worth it in every way.
So were you married at the time when you went into your weekend?
I was. We were actually expecting our second child.
Okay, right.
And so we always encourage people to carpool, go to a weekend. I said, no way.
Yeah.
My wife might pop into labor. So yeah, I drove myself to the weekend and drove home from the weekend. A ball of tears, but yeah.
What was the conversation you had with her about going to this weekend, given that it was an unknown?
Yeah. So there's a reason I said the tears on the way home, because I was so broken open. And I was couldn't put into words at the time what just took place as I'm driving home. And I was just bawling my eyes out in a good way. This was not bad tears. These were healthy, stinking good tears. And my phone had been turned off the entire weekend. I didn't have access to it. So when I got my phone back, got in the car and was driving home, I didn't even turn it on, simply because if I called my wife, I'd be bawling my eyes out and she'd be worried, what in the world's going on with you? When I got home, I wanted to share everything. I wanted to tell her what happened. She had not been through Crucible at the time. And so what I was able to explain is what happened to me, what I just discovered about myself and where I'm going with this internally. And eventually she did go to her initial weekend. And now she understood what I had gone through, the things that happened on the weekend. And when I got into staffing for Crucible, understanding what I was doing there, that was a blessing. And having that line of communication opened more.
Yeah. Even without her going to the weekend, what has it meant for your marriage and your relationship as a result of Crucible?
Great question. One thing that my wife always says is that I just came back radically changed, that I no longer hid my feelings. I've always been a feeling type of person, but I couldn't really describe those feelings most of the time. It was easy for me to cry. It was easy for me to share, what was going on, but I might not be able to tell her why it was going on. I didn't hide behind a mask anymore. I feel like the biggest part of our marriage up until that point, I had worn that mask and had just kind of given in to anything that was said, or, whether it was an argument or a discussion, no matter what, I would just kind of give in. And there's that. But now I'm able to take the mask off and say, hey, I don't know about that. Let's talk about this. And also have a tool bag full of tools to use to do that properly, the right way. Not that I always do the right way, but, we're seriously trying. She will tell you that I'm a different husband, a different father, a different friend, and just different for me. And I love hearing the different for me, because I think that's the most important, is to be different for you first and foremost, because then that carries over and spills out onto others that you love the most. But with the trials and the things that we've been through in our marriage, I mean, I can honestly say, I don't think we'd still be married, honestly, had it not been for going through Crucible and learning how to handle and deal properly with things. We've been through some hard stuff, as most people have. And there's been plenty of moments that giving up was just right there on the table, and we just won't do it. We won't give up.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it's almost set you on a different trajectory to the one you would have been on otherwise.
No doubt. That's a 110% absolute guarantee.
Yeah. What have been some of the other benefits of that decision to attend that a weekend has meant for you in terms of, what you've been doing and around your mental health, peer advocacy as well?
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I believe all of us deal with mental health in some way, shape, or form. And knowing that, incorporating that into the things that you learn through Crucible, being able to manage my own mental health quite a bit better, being able to walk alongside others realizing that the work is not done. It doesn't end on an initial weekend, and it doesn't end, in my opinion, ever. And so the times I think I've got it, I've got it, I'm good to go, is the time that I'm at my worst, honestly. And through Crucible, I understand that. If I'm thinking I'm at my best and I'm okay and I'm good to go, I don't really need anything right now. I don't need community. I don't need connection with anybody else. That's the time I need the community the most. I've learned that through Crucible. Just to know that there is a community of men and women there for each other as we're walking through life, as we're doing these things, and to continue the work together. That has made all the difference in me as a father. My kids are growing, they're 3 and 5, about to be 6 and 4. And man, they're changing drastically every day. I want to look at them like, oh, this is going on or that's going. No, quit analyzing your kids and be present. Just be present. Just be dad. Just be dad. But continuing the work on me, it's helped me to continue striving to be the better dad. And it's helped me in my hardest times. I mean, the hardest times. Ironically enough, I think harder things have happened to me personally after Crucible that I never would have been able to handle prior. Whatsoever. And here I am.
Wow. It's honor for sharing there, Neil. When we were talking then, one of the things that came up for me is like, not only are you a better father for this work and knowing more about who you are and how you turn up, that ability to take off the masks, but as a man who grew up with not many men in his life as role models, you are now a significant role model for your boys. I feel like God often gives us the children we were meant to have, whether that's for them or for us or for both.
Amen.
And I heard somebody just recently say that your role is not to raise good children, it's just to raise good adults that will be parents themselves. And so that's part of what you're doing here.
That's amazing. My son told me something last night. He's 5 years old. And we were watching a show, and it was just a funny little joke in the show that the parents were teaching their kids how to lie because they didn't want their in-laws coming over or something, silly like that. And Dawson looked at me and said, "Daddy, that's not good. And when I have kids, I will never teach them to lie."
Yeah, wow.
Good job, boy. I love it.
Since your first weekend, you've done other weekends, second level weekends and staff weekends as well. What have you got for yourself out of being involved in the community on that more fulsome basis? And has that influenced how you turn up as a leader and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Going through the second levels, staffing, especially staffing, seeing things from kind of the inside out, I've learned so much more. I mean, you learn so much on your initial, but it's kind of over in a flash. And so staffing and training, seeing things from the inside out, it's like, that's what that's about. That's what happened. And, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It is a blessing. And staffing, it's a blessing to give back what was given. It's also a blessing because it's more intense, it seems like, to staff than it is on the initial sometimes, receiving blessings and giving blessings. But as a leader, just realizing that, knowing these things and going through these things doesn't make anything easier. It doesn't make the work stop. In fact, the work continues even greater, and you have a greater responsibility. Now you know these things. And so, at church with Crucible, knowing that if I'm leading, people are following, people are watching. But I feel that every day with my boys. They're always watching. Even when I think they're not, they are. And so being cognizant of that, but still reflecting back on myself. Okay, sure, I want to be a good leader and I want to be a good father, but it has to start with me being a good me. Yes. Me taking care of me, whether that's mentally, physically. I feel like I've gone through a couple of years of putting out fires and finally made the decision, okay, now this is my turn, my time. Okay, let me back off from this. I need to prevent the fires in me instead of just putting them out. And so whether I'm leading or whether I'm following, being the better person that I can be, whatever that looks like, but first and foremost for me.
Yeah. Many of the people listening to this podcast may be considering going to a weekend, their initial weekend, and that's the first step in this. What would you say to them as from your own experience about whether they're on the fence regarding a weekend and going to it?
If you're on the fence, that's a good feeling because that means there's a reason. There's a reason you're on the fence. There's a reason you might be cautious. There's a reason you might be anxious or leery, and that's the enemy holding you back. I'd let go of that. As hard as it sounds, as easy as it is to say it, it wasn't easy for me to do it. Letting go, trusting the process, and coming out, man, get some of that light that I was talking about. Get some of that life that's so prevalent in that definition of what it means to be a man that doesn't have to be a man carrying baggage and a man carrying wounds and a man that doesn't know how to handle. Learn what it means to be real and have a group of people, a group of men that will love you, will support you, and will be right there with you the whole time, feeling loved, welcomed, wanted, and safe.
Yeah. It's definitely a reset, isn't it? That weekend,
Yeah, no doubt.
I get to reset and to understand more about what I'm meant to be doing here, how I could turn up better, all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's the question I didn't ask that we should answer today?
Very good question. Maybe I could answer it like this. There's a reason you're listening to the podcast, and knowing that there's a place where it's safe and you're loved and you're going to be so well taken care of. Why not discover what radical grace and radical honesty looks like? It's definitely something that will change your life for the better and the life of those around you. Why should you go? Why should you not go?
Thanks, Dale. You reminded me that I'm reading a book at the moment, and the guy uses the metaphor of a fishbowl, and that a fish doesn't know it's wet and living in water. It doesn't even know that everybody's looking at it from the outside. And so sometimes we don't actually, for me, it's like we actually don't know sometimes the weight we are carrying and the impact it has on the things that we say are important to us, whether it be relationships with a spouse or with children or just in our community, or and also maybe my ability to live my best life and to be on purpose. And so, there's so much what you just said that reminded me that, we just don't know sometimes the weight we carry. And one of those benefits of a weekend is lifting the load and getting some perspective on what it is that's so important and maybe we need to pay more attention to.
No doubt. And that's exactly where I was. When they did my interview prior to the weekend, I actually asked him, what do you want me to answer here? I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need. And it wasn't that I didn't want. It wasn't that I didn't know I had needs. Just didn't know what they were looking for. And they were just looking for me to be raw and honest about things I dealt with that I needed to let go of or things I wanted to understand.
Yeah.
I heard this said too, you can rake leaves for a time and you have leaves. You can dig a hole and you might find gold. I would encourage you to come to the weekend and find your gold.
Yeah. Yeah. Neil Harbison, it's been an absolute pleasure. We live in two different parts of the world, me down under and you in Texas, but I do hope we get to meet in person sometime soon. And all the best to you as you take on the role of a host coordinator and leading the podcast for the Crucible Project.
Thanks, Martin. I appreciate it. Thank you.
For more information about our weekends, please go to thecrucibleproject.org. Or if you're ready to get started on your transformational journey right now, you can connect with one of our Crucible certified coaches for a free 30-minute session at thecrucibleproject.org/coaching. That's thecrucibleproject.org/coaching. If you like what you heard, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Rate and review wherever you are listening, and don't forget to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform. Thank you for listening.